Hi, everyone. You're tuning in to the Perfectly Powerfully You podcast, a space of epic positivity, radical self expression, and transformational growth. Join me in celebrating this beautiful thing we call life with even greater ease, flow, and authenticity. We've got our pumpkins in the background, even though it's still August, but where we're at right now, it's feeling pretty fall outside, and I'm ready for spooky season. So, welcome. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Perfectly Powerfully You podcast. I'm your host, Nikita, and I trust, hope, and expect that you're all having an amazing day. As we embark on season two, I've been thinking a lot about how I'd love to hold even more intentions for moving forwards with this podcast. And something that I always love doing is feeling like I am constantly growing and inspired and continuously moving towards the life that I would love to live. And it's something that I would love for everyone as well. So thank you all for tuning in and welcome back. Today's podcast is inspired by how I have been bumping up against my own limitations and or paradigms and or ways of thinking that I absolutely think is going to benefit everyone, anyone, and their dog because we're all learning and growing and we all have ways in which we limit ourselves and the magnificent life that we are deserving of. So, by the end of this podcast, I expect, anticipate, and or would love for you guys to gain where you can not only recognize some of your limiting patterns by listening to your thoughts and also feeling into your beautiful body, but ways in which you can touch base with yourself, have conversations with yourself, and move forward in the direction of where you would love to go as opposed to holding yourself back. There's going to be some fun anecdotes from my own life, and there will also be some other inspiring metaphors to help you gain a little bit more understanding of the information that I present to you today. So, without further ado, let's get into the podcast. So, the other day, I was walking with my friends, and one of my friends, Naya, said that her and her mom went to the spa, and she was just telling me how luxurious her experience was. She was showing me her toenails, how she told me that she got her nails done, got a little foot massage, just got to spend some quality, relaxing time with her mom. And all the while, she was just radiating this serene, peaceful essence. And also this air of deservingness of being able to do that. Now, it's not my first time going to the spa, but I was so excited to and inspired by my friend Naya going to the spa. I was like, you know what? I would love to go to the spa. It's been a while since I've actually treated myself to something like that, and I would love to. And so while we were walking, I was like, yeah, when I get home, I'm going to look up on the website for the spa that I'm in town, and I'm going to book myself something for this weekend because I've got a few days off. I haven't set too many, I haven't set any plans, and I'd love to dedicate some quality time, TLC time to myself. Now, when I got home, something I found that was really interesting was that when I actually got on the website and I was looking up what would I love? Would I love a foot massage? Would I love a full body massage? Would I love this, that, and the other? And I was perusing the website. The first thing that popped to my head is here is my budget, and you cannot go over it. And I said, okay, no problem. Like, this is a very generous budget. Thank you so much, Nikki, for giving me not only some guidelines, but also just allowance to step into this. Now, at the level of fact, on at this particular spa, the the investment for a full body massage, even at their monthly specials, was over my budget. So immediately I noticed myself and noticed my body become constrictive. And when I say constrictive, I mean generally my tummy feels tight. It kind of feels like there's butterflies going on. And what I realize is when my body is going into fight or flight, it feels like anxiety, nervousness, and some sort of lack or scarcity. And normally, up until now, when I would notice these feelings, I would immediately just click off the website. I would put myself outside of the experience and say, I don't have the money for this. And I would just not do it. Now, because I was noticing this and I was getting curious as opposed to just moving along with the feelings that are contracting me to a lesser experience in life than I would love, because I've been around the block once, twice, 1,000 times already, and being in the work that I am, I'm choosing now when I do notice these patterns, paradigms, and limiting beliefs to instead get curious with myself as opposed to, again, contracting to the limiting beliefs that my paradigm or patterns of belief have allowed me to experience up until now. So, this is what I was noticing when I started to feel this lack, scarcity, and limiting beliefs. My body felt contractive. I felt this again nervousness, anxiety, and this feeling of just a lower vibration in my body. Generally, it centered lower my body in my stomach, whereas when I'm feeling happy, excited, and inspired, I feel it higher in my body. And that's just how I know for me where are my thoughts and where is my energy located in my personal body experience. Now, as I got more curious, I realized that some of the patterns and what I was telling myself was that you don't have the money for this. This is irresponsible. You're planning a trip. Why are you taking yourself to the spa? You should be using this money for something else. By not using this money, I'm actually protecting you. And these are all very good points, at least that I used to see as better points than actually being able to take the time to invest in myself and my self care. Now, this was my mind, and I recognize this as my mind, convincing me to step back and stay well within my comfort zone. And while there is certain truth in some of what my mind was trying to tell me and just communicate to me, and again, these are just patterns that come up, it doesn't mean that it's the whole truth and the entire fact of the matter. When I verse truth versus fact, truth is, yeah, there's only a certain amount of money in my bank account that I can see. The fact is, we live in an abundant and generous universe, and I remind myself about that all the time. Just because I perceive something with my mind or just because I perceive something with my eyes does not mean that it is the full truth. If we live in an abundant universe, and we do, then it means that my mind can perceive more and my energy can perceive more than what my eyes are choosing to reveal to me. So I asked myself, how can I move forward with this? How can I notice what I'm noticing? The lack, scarcity, the I don't have enough money for this, or this is irresponsible talk. How can I notice this and still be able to move forwards? Because genuinely, I wanted to go to the spa. It is a very privileged, it is a very delightful and luxurious thing to do. And at the level of fact, I really wanted this. I wanted to give myself this space of self care, of love, and prosperity at a different level than I was normally used to, because there's a part of me that really wanted to prove to myself that this can be my new normal. Because when my body was telling me it started to get into fight or flight mode by, again, constricting and feeling lack, scarcity, and like my body was revving up as soon as I was about to make that move, as soon as I was about to book this appointment, I felt in my body it switched from being, relaxed, serene, I'm gonna go to spa to, holy shit, am I gonna be okay? And that's when I knew that in my body went from rest, digest, create into fight or flight, which told me I'm bumping up against a barrier here or a limiting belief here. But there is a version of me at this level of awareness in my life that said, Nikita, I think we can do something different here. Let's play with this energy here because I was noticing a limiting belief and I wanted to move past it. There was this desire to recognize where I was holding myself back, and there was a desire to create something different. We're all given options like this in life. We can know about the law of attraction. We can know about abundance, prosperity, peace. We can know the benefits of meditation, relaxation, and all the great things in life. Just free your mind. It's okay. And everything will be peachy keen. Just shed the limiting beliefs and you'll just live an even greater, fuller, freer life. You can logically know this. And I logically know this. And I can tell myself, and you can tell yourself, we live in an abundant universe. Prosperity is all around us. The only limits are the ones you set in your mind. That's truth. But when push comes to shove, truth and knowledge will only go so far. How you know you are actually growing is when you take this knowledge and put it into action. Life is going to give you tests. This felt like a mildly small test, but it still felt like a test because I logically know that abundance is everywhere. We live in an abundant universe. The only limitation is the one I set for myself. How I prove this to myself that I am an abundant being, that the woman in my vision is a prosperous being and does this all the time, this is her normal, is by making a move, by taking an action. And that is why it felt even more desirable, not only to have the experience of relaxation, going to a spa, luxuriating in someone else, soothing and helping to soothe my body to take care of it in the ways that I would love, but realizing where my lack limitation and what I've known up until now was telling me to hold myself back and where I could put proof in the pudding to actually book the appointment. And because my body was saying, don't do it, you don't have the money, do it another day, put it off till later, this is why it felt important to me. And this is actually what inspired the podcast because we're all going to bump up against our barriers. But what really shows where our learning edges are is when we can recognize when we're bumping up against our growth edges and "Ooh, I'm stepping out of my comfort zone here," is to actually put money where your mouth is and to make a move, no matter how big, no matter how small, towards your dreams. So, when I was noticing, lack, limitation, scarcity, I can't do this, I don't have the money, what did I do? Breathing. That is the first thing. Well, pausing first. Pausing is the first step. Becoming more mindful about what I was telling myself, because immediately my body sent me signals. It was saying it was contracting, it was feeling low energy, I was feeling anxious, I was feeling scared, a little nervous. And that's when I noticed what I was noticing and paused. And I said, well, when I was thinking about earlier how good it would feel to go to the spa, I was ready to make a move. And then as soon as I was about to do it, oh, interesting. I'm feeling like I can't actually take this step. Pausing was the first thing. It allowed me to just um, first just analyze and recognize what was going on and what I was telling myself. And then from there, I was able to dissect a little bit what was going on and how I could help myself, where I can help myself out and be the best encourager, team player, and cheerleader for the version of me that wanted to emerge here. So after pausing, I allowed myself to just relax my nervous system a bit because I couldn't make a move when I felt like I was in this like fight or flight mode. So after pausing, just noticing my thoughts and saying, oh, let's breathe into this. It's okay. Like, let's just take a pause here. And my body's like, okay, thank you. Thank you for just honoring. Let's just take a pause here. And how I allow myself to relax my nervous system is through deep breathing exercises in through the nose and out through the mouth like you're blowing through a straw. I also actively take a big belly breath and allow myself to feel full and then relax it. Kind of like when you feel like you're scrunching your eyebrows and they say just relax your face. This allows your body to say, it's okay, like we're good here. When your belly's contracting, maybe like you're running away from something, or you're just not feeling like you're taking full breaths. And if you're not taking full breaths, it probably means you're not getting enough oxygen to your brain, which means that you're not able to make sound decisions. So, how we can switch our shallow breathing into a deeper breathing, it means that we're also changing our fight or flight, shallow breathing into rest and digest, create deeper breathing. So, number one, how I move through it is pausing, noticing my thoughts. Number two, just breathing myself back into a state where I'm feeling not so tense. My third step was, at least in this particular scenario, I just asked myself what was going on. I said, what's up? Why do I feel so anxious at this moment? Because when I was walking with Naya and I felt so inspired by her and desiring to go to the spa just like my friend did, and I said, well, she can do it, I can do it. And man, I would love that. And I was like, yeah, when I get home, like I'm going to book this. And I was feeling good. I was feeling ready. I was about to take that step. And so I was like, body, I was like, what happened? And so, in the state of curiosity, of willing to hear myself out, I said, what's going on? And I entered into dialogue with my body. Not only did this continue to build trust in myself that I can hear myself, that I feel like I'm actually listening to myself. Body was sending me signals, and I said, I'm here to listen. I'm not here to do anything that's going to put us into a detriment. If you're telling me something's up, I want to hear you out. I want to listen to you. And I just want to understand. I don't want to make agreement with it, but I do want to understand. This also, coupled with number three and just getting curious and asking yourself, hey, what's up? Is recognizing some patterns here. At the level of fact, my body said, I don't have the money. That was the biggest thing. This is irresponsible. That kind of came second, and we're not going to be okay. So I was like, okay, I'm noticing. And I was like, body, we're just noticing. I'm telling myself I don't have the money. And I was like, but is this truth? And so in this dialogue, I was allowing myself to hear myself out and saying, I understand. I totally hear where you're coming from. And I wanted to offer myself something else, a different perspective to ease myself into the idea that this actually could be possible for me. And I said, body, and I said, me, let me give you all the reasons why this is possible for me. This is how much I invest in food. This is how much I invest in personal growth, which is much more than this one time going to the spa. This is how much I invest in going to the gym. This is how much I invest in my car. This is how much I invest in giving to others. And when I totaled it up, it was so much more expansive and so much more money. And I was like, whoa, I actually have a lot of money. I was like, look at that. This is evidence, Nikita. This is what you have created for yourself. And from the state of my body saying, oh man, I was like, I actually do. Like, here's all the evidence I'm giving myself to say, this is where else I'm giving my money and choosing to tithe my abundance. Would it be okay with me to invest in going to the spa? And at the point with my body, when it said, oh man, like, thanks, one, not only thank you for hearing me out, like, I appreciate that. Gave myself a little hug, gave myself a little like clap and fist bump and all the great things just to celebrate that I was taking the time for myself and to hear myself out and to give myself the option to say, let's just take a pause here because this is not the whole truth. Now, the fourth and final step I took with myself to really amplify everything that I was allowing myself in this co-creative space of abundance, prosperity, and overcoming lack and limitation is to step into my vision self, the woman who has the multi-million dollar business says. The woman who does this all the time, just treats herself to the spa, who recognizes the importance of self-care. And this woman, this is her normal. And in my body, this is my normal. When I came up against my limitations, I was putting myself outside of this being my normal. I said, I don't actually treat myself that often in this way. And in which case, I separated myself from the good, from the abundance, prosperity, and relaxation that I know that I am deserving of. When I put myself in my vision and saying, this is my normal, this is what she would do, I take that lack limitation and I put it off to the side and I say, actually, this is my normal. I put myself in prosperity. I come from abundance. I come from safety, security, and knowing that this is what I do. Taking it one step further, I ask myself to visualize what it would look like to go into the spa, which is what I did in the beginning when I was feeling the most inspired to go to the spa and treat myself. I watched myself walk into the door, hearing the little tingling of the door as I was walking into it, immediately feeling the calmness and the welcoming vibes of being in the spa, being greeted with respect and a gratitude for them to see me having like smile on my face. They had a smile on their face, walking into the room and smelling the maybe eucalyptus or vanilla or calming scents, the warm oils on my body, the smells in my nose, the hearing of the serene music, and calmness, peace, and serenity that would wash over me. And this is what encouraged me and continued to inspire me to say, yes, this is what I would love. This is what I'm inspired to do. This is what I'm deserving of, to allow me to take the step, to just book the appointment and allow the universe to serve me. And something that came to mind as I was doing it and visualizing it and taking the step to actually book it is that God can only do for you what it does through you. So we have these inspired ideas to live a greater, freer, fuller life. For myself, it was taking myself to the spa. For others, it might be to invest in higher education, to book a trip to a place you've always wanted to go, to buy a gym membership to get in better shape, to tithe to an organization that you really feel inspired to serve and support. We can be inspired by these ideas, but they will only ever be ideas if we don't take action. So if God can only do for us what it does through us, we must be the conduits to allow the good to be received in our life. And how we do that is by making bold moves. In this instance, it was me booking an appointment. For some, it might be booking a ticket. It might be walking into the gym. It might be choosing a salad over French fries. Our body is going to give us signals, and our mind is going to give us reasons where we bump up against our limitations. But reminding ourselves about the freer, fuller life that we are deserving of, not just because of who we are, but because we're alive. We get to be here. And because of our existence here, just the very fact that we exist, we are deserving of anything we are willing to become. So, in this instance, I chose to become the woman who respects and loves treating herself to days at the spa and for that to be my normal. So, to recap how I moved myself through coming up against this internalized limitation and allowing myself to grow a little more today or yesterday is one, just pausing and noticing what I'm noticing. noticing the constricting feeling in my body, and noticing what thoughts were accompanying it. Number two, breathing my nervous system from a state of fight or flight back into rest and digest, create. Three, it was getting into conversation and dialogue with myself, building that trust and rapport that I am the highest authority for not only myself, but my finances, my body, my well-being, and building that trust by asking myself, what's going on? How can I understand this and myself a little more? And how can I allow myself to welcome the goodness in my life by understanding a little bit more about why my body is feeling a little bit reactive as opposed to responsive to me booking this appointment. Number four is visualizing myself as the woman who does this and it is her normal. Putting myself in the feeling state of rest, relaxation, serenity, confidence, calmness, and wealth and prosperity. Visualizing myself walking into the spa, smelling the beautiful scents of eucalyptus and lavender, hearing the serene music and the tinkling of the door as I walk into the spa, feeling the warm oil on my skin and the calmness in my body, and putting my body into the state as if it's already happening. And finally, to really amplify all of these moves, I asked myself, if I were to die tomorrow, would this mean something to me today? And the answer was absolutely, because not only did I recognize that I was bumping up against a limiting belief, but it meant something for me to, instead of just pass it off and say, okay, I'll just book this another day. I'll just wait until I feel like I have more money. I'll wait until I feel like I'm deserving of doing this. I said, this is a learning moment here. And it means a lot to me, not only to have the experience of going to a spa, because I would love that, but it also meant something to me to recognize where I was limiting myself and to take a step towards proving something different to me. That, above all, even more than just the experience of going to the spa, meant a lot to me because I recognized that I was feeling like I was given a test and I wanted to become more than who I thought I was in this moment. Because I know that I would be so proud of myself by recognizing where I was limiting myself and how I can prove to myself that I am perfectly, powerfully me, just as I am, and giving myself opportunities to say, how can I make this possible? Now, for those of you who feel as though you need a little bit more inspiration to make those moves, I often will listen to something, a podcast, I'll read a book, an inspiring song, I'll talk to a friend or a trusted mentor to help me when I realize that I'm stuck or I feel like I'm stuck and I would love to move forward and take a step. Now, if it doesn't work to just visualize and then take a step, I'll allow myself to be inspired, to take myself out of this feeling of lack, limitation, and scarcity, and put myself into a state of abundance, prosperity. And I can absolutely do this. Sometimes it's a book, sometimes it's a podcast, sometimes it's a trusted friend or mentor. Whatever it is, if it means enough to you, I would highly recommend when you notice yourself in this, okay, I'm noticing I'm limiting myself here. How can I, or what can I listen to? And you can just ask yourself and wait for a response. What can I do here? Or who can I listen to take me out of this mindset and put me into a mindset of, yes, this is possible for me and I am deserving of it. And I would love to leave you with this fun metaphor that I've talked about in other podcasts, but it really is valuable here, especially when you find yourself in river reed thinking. In India, they have elephants, which are considered cattle as we would call cows here in Western society. Now, to train elephants, when they're babies, they will tie the strongest rope around their legs. And as they're pulling and tugging on it, they won't be able to go anywhere. And as they age, you would think because the elephant is growing so much bigger than the humans that they would need stronger rope. And it's actually contrary to this. As a child, as a baby elephant, the elephant learns to give into the tug, the strong pull of this rope. It can't go anywhere. As it ages, they take that rope and they reduce it because the elephant doesn't realize it's stronger than the rope. By its adulthood, they end up only needing to tie river reeds around the elephant's foot, and as soon as it feels the tug, it moves in that direction. Now, you would consider this strong, beautiful, gorgeous elephant to know better, to say, you are an elephant. You could crush an entire human with how big and strong you are. Why are you giving in to the pull of the river reed? It's because it was trained that way. It was trained from birth to give into the pull of the rope. When it was younger, it didn't have the same mentality. It was learning to give into the pull. As an adult, it was so ingrained inside of the elephant to give into the pull that it didn't take much for it to say, okay, I guess I'm not strong enough. As humans, we have very similar river reed thinking. When we were children, it took a lot for us to say this isn't possible because we were often free, we were imaginative, we were creative, and we said, I can do anything because we didn't know any better. We didn't know that things weren't possible for us. We just allowed and we found creative ways to do the things we wanted to do. We learned throughout our childhood, adolescence, teenage, and well into our adulthood to give into the pull of scarcity, lack, limitation, and fear. When we were younger, it could have taken a lot, but conditioning can sometimes be bad conditioning where we don't realize that we keep giving into smaller and weaker tugs that put us outside of prosperity, abundance, and the good that we were deserving of. So in your life, you may have some river reed thinking, and you may not even realize it's river reed thinking because you don't yet know the power that you have. But I would love to say it here and remind you that you're an elephant. Like your mind and who you are connected to for the power breathing you is far more powerful than any circumstance, situation, and condition. Our eyes can be deceivers of what we think is possible for us. When we think and what we consider our only consciousness. I only have this much money in my bank account. I only have this much health in my body. And we give into what we think is possible for us based upon what we see in our surroundings. This is river reed thinking. And we may not always know when we come up against it unless we are aware of it. It's why I invest in my own personal growth. It's why I invest in a life coach myself because I recognize that I can have an even stronger mind than I know myself to have right now. We're learning, we're growing, I'm learning, I'm growing. I know that just because I'm in this work, it does not mean that I'm always accessing and utilizing and empowering the knowledge I have into my actions. Sometimes I give into my river reed thinking because the pull of anxiety, of fear, of I can't do this, I don't have the money, what are people going to think of me, can and does hold me back. But it's in these moments like booking a trip to the spa, like booking a plane ticket, like walking into the gym, that we realize, hey, this is something else. This could be something more. And when we allow ourselves to pause, to ask ourselves to, what's going on here? We can transform river reed thinking and we can actually break this and prove to ourselves that we are far stronger than the tiny tugs or pulls that we once gave into up until now. There is something in your life I can guarantee you right now that up until now you are holding yourself outside of. If it's a beautiful, loving relationship, if it's having more time off, greater time and money freedom, if it's investing in higher education and self-growth, or even starting a business or getting in greater shape. Because if you're not doing it right now, if it's not being seen in your life, it means that there's some river reed thinking and some limiting beliefs that you're allowing to hold you back. And trust me, that's okay. We're here on this earth to learn and grow. We're having this human experience to learn and grow and lean into it, to discover how powerful we really are. And so, for those of you who would love to learn how to not only recognize limiting beliefs and river reed thinking, but who would also love to learn how to put action into that knowledge, every Monday, I'm offering you guys a Mindset Monday Mastery, where there's an hour dedicated for free for those of you who'd love to join me on Zoom to learn some principles and techniques to enhance your life for free. So, Mind Mastery Monday. Join me 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time every Monday over Zoom, where I get to teach you and we get to learn together more tips, tricks, and techniques to recognize our self-limiting beliefs, our self-sabotaging habits, and ways in which we can enhance our life for the better that have long-lasting results. If this sounds super awesome to you, then I have a link down below to the Zoom. You can sign up with your name, and then you'll get a notification to say when it is happening. And I would love to see you there. It's going to be an awesome way to just give back, which is what is feeling very inspired to me, to allow not only this platform of Perfectly Powerfully You podcast to grow and grow, but to also have some more in-person interactive experience to learn and grow together. I hope you all enjoyed the podcast today. I had such a great time and inspired insight for just my own life. So thank you to my limiting beliefs for inspiring this podcast, but also for my powerful and empowering actions for creating what I see today. I hope you guys have a super stupendous and wonderful day, and I look forward to talking with you all very soon. Thank you all for joining me today because it has been my absolute pleasure to be here with you. Make sure to give this podcast a 5-star review and share it with all your loved ones because it helps in creating even more awesome content. If you're interested in learning how to effortlessly create even more health, vitality, and time and money freedom, sign up for my free monthly vision workshop live over Zoom. Until then, I hope you all have a powerful day, and I look forward to chatting with you all real soon.